What's going on, guys? In this video, we're taking a look at some lore from Wayfinder. This lore is brought to us by a question from one of the community players. So this picture here on the Twitter says, "Ask the devs," and they asked, "Because Wayfinders are cut from the gloom, will they die if the gloom is fully pushed back?" This is what J Puppy asks. J Puppy says asks. That's funny. All right, so it says the team loves getting questions from fans who dive deep into the lore of Evanor. Bars, what Wayfinder lore questions do you have? Dev response, getting into super deep lore here by why the hell not? Here you all go. So the world that everyone on Evanor was used to living on was a reality balanced by the architects. They essentially harnessed the 12 elements of magic on the planet with a powerful network of devices, the beacons, and by extension, the balefires and signalfires, which are smaller connecting nodes of the network. This network keeps the architect's sort of vision or design of what they wanted the world to be functioning. The precursors unleashed the gloom by disabling the beacons in very specific ways, as they were intimately familiar with the technology. The gloom seems like the crazy force of darkness sweeping the land to humanity, but it's essentially just the precursors turning the dial on the beacons to turn down 10 of the other elements and ramp up shadow and chaos. So instead of them turning off the beacons completely, I guess there's like a little switch on there. So they're like each of the beacons, each control a different element is what it sounds like, my guess. And they were able to take care of certain beacons that focus more on other elements and left other beacons up for last that handle the darker chaos and shadow elements. So when that happened, the beacons needed to start molding this shadow and chaos version of reality, as that's their function. So they started breaking down the current version of reality, the one the architects balanced that everyone was previously living on. The beacons, or the gloom, does this in the earlier stages by taking something that existed, making a ton of copies of it, breaking it down to its core elements, and then putting it back together as shadow and chaos in this case. The final version of what it's trying to construct is much like the Void, or Gloom Dungeons. But in the early stages, this looks like the Lost Zones. Why did it just jump up like that? Which is why you have a ton of slightly altered versions of places that once existed, like Aurelian. So that's some pretty deep lore there about how the Lost Zones exist and why they are the way they are, why they change around a lot. It's because they're constantly being reconstructed inside the beacons. And that's why we look at the beacon in the town, it's also a gloom gate. But that means that sounds like if we opened up another beacon to another area, it would kind of alter how all the other ones would work a little bit, because beacons are shut down and the ones that are left are doing gloom or shadow and chaos. So if we upgraded another beacon, let's say a greed beacon, it seems like it would fundamentally change what's happening with the world again, which would be kind of interesting if that's something that they had planned on doing in the live servers version. The Wayfinders were kind of similar. They're echoes. They were lost in the gloom, so copies were made of them. The only difference being because of the gloom daggers, which are formed from shards of the precursor who attacked Skylight's sword, they now have managed to exert some control over the elements as well. This is because, again, the technology used by the precursors is intimately related to beacon tech. So theoretically, if the force that was replicating and breaking down everything around the planet stopped, then all the replications would remain. So pretty much they would still exist. So it's like replicating it and breaking it down. So when it replicates it, it's not like taking it away, just making other copies of it. So how can you put this? Like if we have like a copy machine, a press, a printer. And so you print out like 5 pages of something and the printer stopped working, you still have those 5 pages of what you printed out. So they're not going anywhere. And that's pretty much what's happening here with the Wayfinders is what it sounds like. So yeah, there's some lore for us. Will Wayfinders die if the gloom is pushed back? The answer is no. Thanks for watching. Make sure you stay tuned to the channel for more information on Wayfinders and other games coming out in the future, like the first to send it and more. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace.